Hello everybody, welcome back. All right, so if you've just joined us, you'll of course know that we're talking about sport in the Western Cape. Definitely currently, folks, there are so many competitions happening, and the interesting thing is how many of our athletes are in fact now starting to do off-season training. And for a lot of our sport codes, of course, the summer is upon us in the Western Cape, and we see a lot of events now moving in a slightly different direction. But the last few months has seen a lot of our provincial teams, in fact, competing either at a inter-provincials or at a nationals or even at a Africa continental championships, or in some cases even in world championships. Quite recently it was the South African climbing championships in KZN, where a lot of our Western Cape athletes were competing. And back in studio with us now is the president of South African climbing, and also from the Cape Town and Western Cape region, Chris Naude. Chris, nice to have you back in studio.
Hi JP, good to be back, and hi to everybody who's listening.
Yeah, so let's just talk about, since we last saw you in the studio, the last couple of months, Western Cape climbing has been quite busy. You guys have had a sport awards recently, and a lot of your athletes from the Cape Town and Western Cape areas have been doing quite successful.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's one of the things that we recognize that. The sport awards you mentioned, I had kind of slipped my mind at the moment, but it was really great to see that our high performance training group got the award for the best after school program, and that was really great. And it showed up at the national championships, which we've just had in KZN.
Well, before you tell us where you can't let that cat out of the bag yet.
Too quick.
It's a bit too quick. So let's just touch on that. The sport awards, you had Tiffany Wells there. Of course, that's been. Are you feeling that the last few years of the program that you guys have been building as from climbing, of course, if we look at this pattern here, Cape Town into Western Cape, into your national structures, to be able to get an award like that, it shows that something has been working.
I absolutely believe that, and it's worked in ways that we didn't expect as well. So we were planning on a high performance program, and obviously we're looking at our best climbers and seeing how we can support them and improve their performance in national and international competitions. But it also had a really interesting effect that around that grouping, so we've got a few kids who are really good at climbing, and then their parents get more involved because we've got this little group, and then their friends get involved, and so it grows, and it's actually turned out that it's built a really strong community around that, and people who think they might be good at some stage in the future are also looking at this with interest, which is an interesting side effect.
Well, I think that for one of the very interesting parts for us is how many valuable lessons there are for sports organizations in this, because many sports organizations, I feel, they get frustrated with the administrative process. They want to just do their sport and get on with the basics, but you actually took the basics and turned it into building blocks and said, right, we're segmenting our structures here. You've got some high performance, you've got some development, you've got some club recruitment, you're going to focus on it looks like you put the puzzle together one piece at a time.
Well, I think this is exactly it. And I mean, the federation stuff seems boring to a lot of people, and look, a lot of it is, I'm not going to lie. But the concept of the structure of the federation really does give room for. I heard such a nice analogy the other day, and that's that the federation is like a trellis. It's not the organization. The plant is the organization, and that's your people. But the trellis holds the structure that holds everything in place and together, and helps it to grow.
But you mentioned the people.
And I think that's the people are the thing, you know. So the little groups that develop around that, who are looking at, as you mentioned, bringing in development people bringing them in new. We've had little competitions for people who have never competed before.
So is that something that you guys did, was come up with a creative out-the-box thing, something that was unique and different?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're always looking for new ideas
Yeah.
and how that comes in.
But
And the new team in the Western Cape has also got lots of energy now. And one of the things that happens as an administrator is that there's a tendency to tell people how to do what they're doing. And I think it's also important to give them the space. You pick the right people and then give them the space to build on that and to grow themselves as well. And I think that's really worked well as well. Is actually just making it possible for people, creating an environment where this can happen.
Yeah, yeah. So this past weekend it was the South African Championships, the South African Climbing Championships in Durban, I believe.
Yeah, so it was quite an adventure, really. For the first time, we've built a wall. I wasn't involved in that, so I can't take credit for it. But to build a climbing wall for a weekend competition it's not so easy, and it's a big job. So first time that's been done. There were some challenges. The weather and a couple of other things didn't play along. But within that, we had a fantastic team of route setters.
What divisions did you have?
So we had from under 13 to open. So open is anyone.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that was the sort of range of people that we had there. It also served as a selection competition for the upcoming International Federation Olympic selections.
Wow. Okay.
So ultimately, the Olympic selections are going to be in Pretoria at the end of the year, and from this crowd, the team that's going to be represented at the Olympic selection competition will be selected.
Will be selected, yeah. So tell us a little bit about what we want to know about is how did our Western Cape athletes do at these championships? We were, of course, hoping to get Tiffany Wells, your high performance coach, in studio with us. We'll get her in again soon. But how did our provincial athletes do? We know that you've got to carry a neutral cap now because of your but how did we do?
You can see from my smile I'm not that neutral.
Yeah.
We did really well. So we've got about, I'm going to brag a little bit, we've got about half the podium positions in the different categories. So in the country, that we feel very proud of that. And everybody really pulled the climbers themselves excelled and
So it wasn't so long ago that we saw that you guys did a provincial capping ceremony for your kids that were going to the provincial championships. And that capping ceremony then saw moms and dads and kids getting their gear and off they went to the national champs. Was it a similar setup?
Similar to that, so much of it was the same people, because we had a competition in March in Johannesburg, which was the selection for the Youth World Championships. That's come and gone, and our team once again did exceptionally well. That's a slightly different level to the Olympics, obviously. But very similar setup.
So age categories, what sort of age categories are we talking about here? And is it
also so there's a bit of an overlap. So in the youth worlds, for instance, we have from under 15 to under 19, and then for the Olympics, anyone from 16 years and up can take part in the Olympics. That's just the international regulations on that one.
And you got a new president now for climbing in Western Cape?
Absolutely. So Rolf Fitchen has taken over the presidency here, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results of his energy. Very energetic person.
No, that's fantastic. Chris, we'll leave it at that.
So fantastic.
Can't wait to get you guys back in here. Obviously, your Western Cape climbing athletes continue to bring the medals. Western Cape's really doing well.
Well, we'll let you know after the Olympic Selection Committee, Olympic selection competition in December.
So and that's of course in Pretoria.
In Pretoria,
Some of the Western Cape athletes going up.
We've got quite a big team going up.
We got that. Right, folks, there we go. Western Cape climbing, of course, bringing back the medals after the South African Championships. That's really fantastic. Boys and girls, juniors and seniors. And, of course, a lot of them now are going to be aiming for Olympic selection when they go up in December in Pretoria. Stick around. When we come back, we'll carry on talking about sport in the province. Don't go away.